Going to start now. So welcome to this monthly IIBA BABOK Brownbag webinar from Adaptive US. My name is Ellen Mishra. I am the principal trainer and business analyst at Adaptive US. Been practicing this field for close to 27 years now, quite a long time. And I have taught BABOK to more than 6,000 students, of whom about 1,500 are now certified on BABOK itself. And there are about 500 who have got certified on other certifications from IIBA, such as CBDA, CPOA, CCA, AAC, those kind of certifications. Okay, so let's begin. And then just a quick question to all of you. Where are you folks joining from? Anybody from Europe, Africa? I would know that most of you may be coming from US and Canada, but are there people from other parts of the world as well? Nowhere else? You can put it in the Q&A window. Okay. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Okay. The Q&A answered, open. Yeah. Terry said she's from Montana. Okay. Iris is from New Jersey. Wow, that's nice. That's a city I'm reasonably familiar with. I lived there for some time. Um, I'm forgetting the name. Some square, Journal Square. Yeah. So I used to work in New York and then I used to commute from New Jersey, Albany, Australia. Wow, Craig. We had a webinar for Australia. You could have joined that. That was a much more convenient time. Siddhant is from Ontario. Bilal is from Qatar. Oh, Lakmal is from Sri Lanka. That's nice. Okay, Carmen is from Canada. Someone from Dublin. Okay, New Jersey again. New Zealand. Wow, we're quite late in New Zealand now. Must be post midnight. I should really thank you for taking time at this odd hour and joining us. Okay, good. It's really nice to see people joining from many parts of the world. That has been the case for us. We get students from about 90 plus countries. And that's the beauty of today's modern world where we can interact with students and work with customers all throughout the world, which is a really amazing feat that technology has allowed us to do. So again, let me take a minute to thank you all for joining us today. And trust me, this is going to be quite helpful for you, and I'm quite confident it'll save you a pretty good number of hours when you're trying to understand this mammoth body of knowledge, which is called BABOK. I struggled with BABOK for a very long time. Let me be honest with you. Although I've been practicing in the beginning phase, I had serious difficulty in interpreting BABOK. And then I understood if a person with my kind of experience is struggling, anybody for that matter will struggle with BABA. Especially if you're a new business analyst, it's going to be really hard on you. So that's why I decided to create this webinar where I would like to give you a context, a perspective about BABOK. I'm not going to get into BABOK a lot because I don't have time for that. But this perspective, this context will make it a lot easier for you to appreciate BABOK. So again, as I said before, our aim is to kind of understand the context in which BABOK was developed and then decode BABOK knowledge area. This is again another thing. A lot of people struggle. Some of the knowledge areas are easy to understand, not very hard, but some can be quite difficult as well. And I will also be keeping about 20 to 25 minutes time just to answer your queries. So I'm trying to finish the webinar in 30, 35 minutes so that I have ample time in hand to answer your questions. And at that time, I will unmute you folks so that you can ask your questions and we can have interactions at that time. Also remember, we are going to give you a little goodie at the end of the webinar. So those of you who stick to the end, we are going to share you a code. Using that code, you can get free access for 1 month. if you buy additional access, I would rather say, not free access, if you purchase anything going forward. Just a quick note, I believe many of you might have seen me, heard me talking in webinars, a lot of training sessions as well. As I said, I started my business analysis career in the year 1996. That's quite long back. Then I have assisted close to 2,000 professionals to get IIBA certified. I'm also the first BA in the world to hold all 7 IIBA certifications. Now, of course, I have a couple of companion professionals as well, but for a pretty long time, I was the only person holding that success story. Then I had been part of IIBA standards writing bodies, exam setting committee as well. And I was also declared as a BA to watch out in 2020 and in 2024 as well. So most of my time goes in conducting business analysis activity for Adaptive itself and for some of our clients. Spend a lot of time in writing as well. I have written about 20 books on business analysis. I write a lot of blogs as well, and about 1/3 of my time goes in conducting courses. I trust some of you might have had a look at BABOK. No? Anybody who would like to share his or her experience with BABOK? If you say so, uh, Rene has a problem. I am not very sure. All of you are able to view my desktop reasonably well, or you have difficulty in seeing my desktop? All okay? Okay. So how has been your experience with BABOK, if you have been through BABOK? Hmm. Okay, if you are having some trouble with the sharing, let me do one thing. Let me share it once more so that that will make it easier because I'm sharing this presentation, nothing else. So I will go back to Zoom and just 1 second. What happened to Zoom? Just give me a second. I believe I can close everything else so that I can focus on share screen. Okay, this one, share. Okay. Some of you are saying that you are able to view my desktop. So the desktop currently shows how has been your experience with BABOK. Anyone who has been going through BABOK? Okay. Dawood says it's large, seems to be well organized, but a lot of content. Siddhant says after completing PMBOK, BABOK was a bit of a struggle in terms of decoding it. Okay, very good. Okay, very difficult read. Okay. So let me narrate one very interesting reply from one of my past students. When I asked this question in a group of students, that person replied, Ellen, the night I don't get sleep, I actually start reading back. And once I go through few pages of Babak, I get very nice sleep. So it's obviously pretty large, little bit of a dry read as well. So I have been suggesting to IIBA that we should have a simpler version of Babak, especially for new business analysis. And we do actually have one, but it's not a complete BABOK. So I'll probably show you that piece of book, which you can download from IIBA site. And that's something you can start with. Before you read BABOK, maybe reading that tiny guide will help you. It's a large document for sure. It's also not written in a way from a practice point of view. So that's something we should remember. It is not a practice guide, but it is a knowledge guide. What is the difference between practice guide and knowledge guide? A practice guide actually tells you how to conduct business analysis from beginning till end. Whereas a knowledge guide will tell these are the things that you need to know, and you should be able to create a task plan for yourself. So you can use this as an information source, but you are not supposed to use it as a task flow. But many of us are so familiar with task flow like a project management body of knowledge. PMBOK has a very clear task flow. I think now that's also changing. But we used to say initiate, plan, execute, control, close. So we had a very clear phase concept in PMBOK. BABOK does not have that kind of a concept. So we'll try to decode it as we go forward. So obviously, what is BABOK? It is called as the business analysis body of knowledge. Why it is called a body of knowledge? Because about 250 practicing business analysts contributed to the development of BABOK. So imagine 250 people around the world coming together to create something. So I really kind of congratulate and I think people who wrote the BABOK, like one of my older colleague, Laura Patton, she was a chair for BABOK writing team. And I have heard her speaking to me quite often, and she used to say, it was such a hard task, getting 250 people to think in a particular direction, contribute to the body of knowledge. It's not going to be easy. And people have different perceptions, different knowledge, different opinions about what is business analysis, what is not business analysis, what should we include, what we shouldn't include. So she was telling her frustrations about the body of knowledge. So what does it actually contain? It contains 30 tasks. So in a sense, we do have some kind of a idea about what are the common tasks that every business analyst must know. And these tasks have been grouped into 6 knowledge areas in a sense that will help us to put our head around what is BABAP. No, it's such a big book. So am I talking about planning? Am I talking about elicitation? So that's what it is trying to do, put these tasks into 6 knowledge areas. Then it has 50 named techniques. And this is where, again, it's kind of a very wrong thing for us. It's actually 91 techniques. It's not 50 techniques, although we list them in 50 order, but there are many techniques which contain sub-techniques within themselves. So don't think that you are learning 50 techniques. You're actually learning 91 techniques. And there may be some which I might have missed because it's such a big book. At least I could count up to 91. And then it also has a very strong BA vocabulary. And this BA vocabulary is primarily driven by the American vocabulary. So please be careful. People who come from the British background, like UK, India, Africa, they may find certain terms differently interpreted in BABOK compared to what they may tell in their company. Okay. Like, say, for example, in many parts of the world, what may be called as organization, that's what is called as enterprise in BABA. Okay. What we call department or function in many parts of the world, that is called organization in BABA. So BABA primarily follows the American terminology. Then the second thing, what has happened in BABOK version 3, which is the current version for the examination, it has become very, very purist in its approach. That means it wants to use terms which are technically very correct, but those terms may not be used that frequently in practice. So I don't know whether some of you might have seen BABOK version 2. That's the version on which I got certified. So version 2 had language which was much more grounded, much more at the project level. But version 3 has language which is slightly taken away from the ground. Technically, it's more correct, for sure. But it makes it harder for people to understand. Okay, so here is one poll that I would like to run for you. Those of you who have gone through BABOK, at least partly, heard about it, read about it, how many of you consider BABOK to be a business analysis guide? Okay, so I'm going back to save and let me see if I can launch this poll. Okay, where is that? Cancel. Oh, sorry. I think I did not save the poll, so I can't run it now. But you can answer it as if you consider BABOK to be a business analysis guide or something else? Or it's a partly a business analysis guide, not a full business analysis guide? What do you think? Because the name suggests it's a business analysis guide. Okay. Okay. So let me quickly take you through a couple of terms as per BABOK and let's see. So the first thing is to understand what's actually a business. Now, business, that's where we're talking about. So we have two terms, business and analysis. So the first term that we would like to understand is business. Most of you are in business. So can someone tell me what is business? What is the distinguishing characteristic of a business? Must be something, no? How do you call an entity a business? Not a business. Like, say, for example, if you take Red Cross, hmm, is it a business? No, not a business. No, Red Cross is not a business. So there is obviously some difference between Red Cross and say Adaptive, or you take IBM or Microsoft or any other company for that matter. So the distinguishing feature is actually profit. Okay. So any enterprise, any activity that is being carried out with a profit intent, we call it as business. Otherwise, it's not a business. Does it mean what we study in BABOK we cannot apply to non-profit? We can. To many extent, we can apply BABOK to non-profits as well. But this was primarily written for commercial enterprises or profit-oriented organizations. Then, if you take a look at it, the next word is something called analysis. And all of us do analysis all the time. No? Should I take my car out today? Should I travel by train, aeroplane, or should I buy this product or that product? Including, suppose some of you may be married already, some of you planning to get married. When you are planning to get married, you are also doing analysis. You know, who are my prospective partners? Which partner should I go with? So we are constantly analyzing as human beings, and as part of businesses also we need to constantly analyze. Unfortunately, I did not get a good definition of analysis in BABOK, so I picked one from Wikipedia, which I believe is a fairly trusted source. And Wikipedia says breaking a complex topic, businesses are complex, into smaller parts in order to gain a better understanding of it. So analysis is primarily deep dive, decompose. So a lot of activities can happen as part of analysis. So I came from a management consulting background before becoming a business analyst. So obviously, I had great difficulty in understanding because for me, if I look at business analysis, I would treat it as a deep dive into many aspects of business. Businesses have challenges, for sure. They have competition, they have opportunities, they have products, they have capabilities, they have a structure, they have a strategy. So I could actually get deep into any of these aspects, and that itself can be pretty large activity. Like a company can have a strategy which is good, or a company can have a strategy which isn't very good. No? And if your company has a bad strategy, it's likely to lose out. No? If it has bad processes, it's likely to lose out. If it does not have good capabilities, it's likely to lose out. So I would have actually gone into all these details as a business analyst. No? But in BABOK, we don't do anything of that sort. Okay. So where did this disconnect happen? So let's understand that. So if you look at BABOK, this is how BABOK is defining business analysis. It's saying practice of enabling change, okay, in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. So primarily, it is focusing on developing or enhancing software solutions to solve a business need. This is the focus of BABOK. People can criticize me. I can fully understand when I take such a hard stand. Uh, People are going to be angry with me, and some people may say, "No, no, no, Ellen, it's not only about software; it's also about something else." I can hear all those things, and I was actually requested by a construction company saying, "Teach us BABOK." Then I said, "What would you do while learning BABOK? You have huge piece of content on UML, which you never see in your field." Okay. So obviously, keep that focus in mind. It's about software applications, not even software products. Okay. And how come this became business analyst? So it comes from the fact that maybe over last 30 to 40 years, software started occupying a major focus for companies around the world. Companies realize that software can be very powerful. It can help companies to automate their processes, reach out to new customers. Lots of things softwares can do. In fact, as we speak, software is becoming even more powerful. I was listening to a company's pitch a couple of days back, and they offered me 10 salespersons, okay, at $600 per month. But these are AI salespersons. These are not human salespersons. But these AI salespersons can do the work of salespersons at the junior level, and they come at much cheaper price. They can be trained much faster, much quicker than what you can train a human salesperson. So imagine the role of software in the corporate world. And to implement software, we created something called SDLC, which many of you might know, Software Development Lifecycle. So we had this lifecycle like planning, plan the project, find requirements for the solution, design it, develop it, test it, and maintain it. And the piece of people who did requirements, they were interacting with business. They were trying to understand the needs of business stakeholders, and they were trying to pass on those needs as requirements to designers or developers. Okay, so we had the stakeholders here. If you see here, here were the stakeholders. You can call them as business stakeholders, whatever name you want to give them. I will just, for the simplicity, I will call them as business stakeholders. And there were set of people who were proficient in getting this information from here. So that's why you will a lot of times hear the word translator, um, communicator, connector, all kinds of things you'll hear. So they were getting the requirements or needs from stakeholders, and they were expressing it in a language which developers can understand. No, remember, developers are tech people. They don't have that kind of an idea about business world. Whereas these people who call themselves as requirements analysts, requirements engineers, or business analysts, they were proficient in business language. They also understood technology. So they were kind of the connecting link between business stakeholders and technology stakeholders. That is where this whole concept of BABOK also came up. So these people who were doing requirements analysis, they came together and they decided to call themselves as business analysts. In fact, now I see an increasing trend where people who do data analysis from business, they have started calling themselves as business analysts as well. So ideally, I would call these people as business data analyst, business requirements analyst, rather than calling them as business analyst. I have a problem with that. And I think because we have not clearly specified these terms, everybody else is confused about us, what we do. So most of us, maybe in the project world, we would be project requirements analyst or project business requirements analyst, whatever you want to call yourself, please call. Okay, then coming to BABOK evolution, it started quite long back in 2004, and it has been evolving over a period of time. Okay. But the evolution stopped at 2015, which is almost like 10 years old. But I would believe the work would have stopped around 2013, 14, because you need about a year to finalize the book. So it's almost a decade old book. Okay. So obviously, when this was being written down, the prominent method of application development was waterfall. So when you read BABOK, please remember it's for a large application being developed using waterfall approach. Is there discussion on agile? Of course there is. But the focus on agile is much, much lower because at that time frame when we were authoring BABOK, the agile framework was relatively new, not so popular, whereas it became popular later on. Okay. Good. So let's keep this in mind. Large software custom development project. So if you keep that in mind, it becomes a lot easier. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of reframe the knowledge areas a little bit. And when you read the knowledge area, please keep these reframed words in your mind. That can help you to solve a lot of problems that you may encounter while reading it. So the first knowledge area that Babak puts is BA planning and monitoring, but I would say you rather read it as requirements planning and monitoring. That's what you do. Okay. So how do you plan to elicit requirements? How do you plan to manage requirements? That falls into that particular knowledge area. So no problem. Just a simple replacement of business analysis into requirements. The second knowledge area, if you see, I have added a couple of words. Fundamentally doesn't change anything. So it's about requirements elicitation and stakeholder collaboration. Okay. Uh, I'm a bit surprised why stakeholder collaboration went into elicitation. I would have rather put it in planning and monitoring area because stakeholder collaboration should be part of that knowledge area rather than being part of elicitation knowledge area. Maybe the thought process was uh, when you are eliciting, you are interacting with stakeholders in a lot more structured manner. No worries. Third knowledge area, I have absolutely no change to make. It's requirements lifecycle management. But remember, sometimes we may think requirements lifecycle is within project lifecycle. It isn't true. The requirements lifecycle is actually overarching. Project lifecycles are typically within requirements lifecycle. So keep that in mind. Requirements lifecycle can run for hundreds and thousands of years. Keep that in mind. Then the fourth knowledge area is where I had maximum difficulty because I was trying to equate it with enterprise strategy analysis. Typically, when you think of a word called strategy analysis, you will think it must be at the level of enterprise. No. Okay. It has nothing to do with enterprise strategy analysis at a very high level. What it is talking about is requirements implementation roadmap analysis. How do you plan to implement your requirements? Do you want to do it in a waterfall way or do you want to do it in an agile way? That's what is being discussed in that knowledge area. And then the sixth one is about solution performance evaluation. It's not solution selection evaluation. In fact, solution selection evaluation happens in knowledge area 5, which is requirements analysis and design definition. So keep that in mind. I hope this mind map will, if you keep this mind map in back of your mind and read BABOK, it'll become a lot more easier for you to understand BABOK. Again, here is one mind map that we created, and I can share this mind map with you as well. And we have tried to structure BABOK into 30 tasks that you can see here. We have tried to indicate when the tasks are generally done parallelly, when the tasks are generally done serially, what are the key inputs, what are the key outputs, key deliverables, all that we have put it into this map. Not look very simple at this time, but I remember when we were trying to develop this map, we had spent close to 40 hours debating, discussing among ourselves as the best way to represent BABOK. Is it perfect? No. Is it complete? No. Okay. It has imperfections, incompleteness, but we still believe it is still a good bird's eye view of what you are going to learn in BABOK. Another interesting attempt we made is BABOK considered all techniques or each technique as independent technique, having no association to knowledge areas, having no association among themselves. But if you study carefully BABOK, you will realize certain techniques contribute significantly more to certain knowledge areas. Okay, say for example, interviews, observation, workshops, these are typically very helpful for elicitation activity. So we try to put them into different buckets. Then we also understood that certain techniques can be even further subgroup. Like if you see collaboration, group-based collaboration, in that you have brainstorming, workshops, focus groups, collaborative games. Almost all of them follow similar pattern. Okay, so that's how we kind of reduced BABOK quite a lot in our study guide to give you an idea that there is a lot of content which is repeating in BABOK for whatever reason. Maybe so many people wrote it, so it's very natural that people kind of copy the content or whatever you say. But you can reduce the content to a large extent if you understand the similarities between techniques. Similarly, there is also a flow between techniques. Like we see a task flow in the previous map, you can have a techniques flow as well. Say, for example, typically from the data information side, you can start with glossary, because that's where you will start with your business terms. From glossary, you can go to data model. From data model, you can go to data dictionary, data flow diagram. Okay, so there is a clear sequence that you can follow when using techniques as well. So please understand that, and that can be very valuable when you are um, conducting your actual activities or you are trying to write for the test. Just a 5 minute intro about our company. I believe most of you know it, but I'll just quickly take you through and then I'll throw open the session for your questions. We have been a leading provider of IIBA certifications. We have been doing this work, and we are an exclusively focused organization on IIBA certifications, and that's how we have got a global market share of close to 5%. And there are 500 plus organizations around the world who provide IIBA certification training. Got fantastic reviews from customers. You can read them on internet, LinkedIn, wherever you want to go and find them out. We deliver more than 100 courses in a year, all focused on IIBA certifications, and possibly the only organization in the world which does all 7 certifications. And right now, we do deliver live sessions for 6 of them, and probably in 2025, we will add the last standard, which is CCA, to live delivery as well. And we have delivered courses for more than 5 years now, uninterrupted. So no month our courses have been cancelled. Okay, so I think just a number, maybe a little updated. Now I think we are at 1960. And then there is also an interesting product that we introduced for our um, on-demand course students, where they can actually add the live add-on classes. For ECBA, you pay $80 more. For CCBA, you pay $120 more. And for CBAP, you pay $150 more. So between the content and the class delivery, this almost completes all your needs. So you have all the resources, you also get to attend all the live classes, and that's generally more than enough for you to complete the certification. Again, we have been committed to our students very strongly, and that's what we try to do. We try to get the finest faculty that you can get on earth. I mean, I'm not boasting of. It is like that. I don't think there is any other institute which has similar faculty quality that we have or similar content quality that we have. So that's why we are proud to provide you with 3 guarantees. These are written guarantees. Okay. So there is a success guarantee. So if you don't pass the exam on the first attempt, in the second attempt, we pay the retake fees from our pocket. So you are protected from any additional spend from your side. And for CBAP, that's a commitment of $600 to each student that we make. Then our sessions are guaranteed to run, and there's also money back guarantee. In the worst case, which has happened twice or thrice in our history, where a student doesn't complete the test even after 2 attempts, and then we pay the money back, whatever money we collected from the student, and whatever has been left after paying the IIBA fees. So if a student doesn't pass the exam with us, we earn $0. So these are the people that you will meet. Laura has taken a little bit of a sabbatical right now. So we have one more person joining in her place called Olivia Hampton. She's also a very experienced BA. She's the chapter leader for one of the IIBA chapters. Victoria is on the board of IIBA. We are likely to have one more board member joining us in 2025. So we are in discussion, and I think that should happen. Laura, again, has been a very seasoned BA, very actively involved with IIBA. And Tom is one person who is very passionate about CBDA and CPOA, non-core standards, and is an extremely good faculty with probably 40 plus years of experience. You will find plenty of career transformation stories. So rest assured, if you have gone through a good training, you have put an effort to learn the subject, it is going to pay off. Typical salary hikes are between 30 to 100%. That's the kind of value people get uh, within 6 to 12 months. It's not that you have to wait for years together to get benefit. Many students get benefit even before they complete the training. Even at that level, people go and then appear for an interview. They are much more confident and they answer questions better. So they get selected for the new role as well. Again, one interesting resource, it's available on our website, but I'm just giving you a link in case you want to take a look at the book. It's one of the nicest books that we have published, covers all 7 standards, sample questions, all that stuff. This is the webinar coupon. Okay, so please take a note of it. I will give this webinar coupon code kind of once I complete the deck. I just have a couple of slides and then I will throw open the question to you. Yeah, that's it. And this is the contact slide for us. So our best email to reach us is CS, which stands for Customer Success at adaptiveus.com. Okay, I'm done with my presentation. It's now your time. Whoever wants to ask a question, you can let me know. Hmm. Uh, oh, Vilas Das says, solution does not mean only software solution. I agree completely. There is no doubt about it. But BABOK is primarily a software book. So don't have high expectations about other kinds of solutions being discussed. Truly, solutions can be many types. It can be skill improvement, it can be restructuring, lots of things can happen as solution. But in the book, we will generally stick to software. The questions will be in and around software projects. We will share this presentation with all of you. One of you have asked, do we have a payment plan in South Africa? We have payments plans in US right now, no other country, but you can structure it in such a way that suppose you take the plan with exam fees, the exam fee can be paid later. So you get the benefit of a lowered exam fee. So let me also tell you that something interesting I did not tell. Maybe I should put a slide on that because that's something very helpful for all of you. I'm just going to put that slide as well. Um, Say people who are in US and Canada and Europe, you get a little bit of a discount on exam fees if you buy through us. Okay. The exact amounts are available on the website. But I know for CBAP, you get $84, if I'm right. You get $84 if you are an existing student. And I think for ECBA, if I'm correct, it's USD 34 compared to if you buy directly from IIBA. So you get a little discount. So these are part of our bundle products. So you can take a look at that. So at least you save something. And if you happen to be in Canada, maybe you save a little bit more because Canada also has additional taxes that apply on top of what you buy in Canada. So, but this is something that's available to our existing students. Okay, so let me go back. Ah, Vilas. Vilas says, what has happened or happening since 2015? That's a good question, Vilas. We do have a lot of extension products. If you would have observed, IIBA produced an extension product on data analytics. That's a newer standard. It also produced an extension standard on agile analysis. It also produced an extension standard on product ownership. It also produced an extension standard on cybersecurity. So there are a lot of changes happening to the IIBA portfolio for sure, but BABOK hasn't really changed. So that is something I have been requesting to Team IIBA, saying it's already 10 years old, so should we revamp BABOK? Uh, but maybe there are so many dependencies around BABOK and exam system and all, so probably that's why IIBA is not really willing to change BABOK at this time. But maybe you guys request. So when you request, maybe IIBA will hear. No, I being almost a semi part of IIBA, they don't hear me out. They know Ellen will say like this, but will not leave IIBA. Okay. Okay. Someone interested in taking that satisfy the request, would you able to create a purchase order? Of course, we can. We do provide purchase order facility for corporates, not for individuals. So if your company gives in writing that they are looking for a course, we can always uh, do that for you. Not a problem. Uh, Makasi has a question. Can you suggest which is the best PC to purchase to write IIB proctored exams? Most standard PCs that you take, is it at a Dell PC, HP PC? A lot of people take it on Mac as well. But I would always prefer a Windows PC because uh, usually many systems are much more compatible to Windows platform compared to Mac platform. So if you're buying a new PC, maybe buy something like a Dell or an HP. Both are good brands. Buy one. I use the HP machine. I have never had any problem, and I have written 7 tests uh, using the same PC over a period of time. Of course, 2 of them I wrote in the exam center, and 5 of them I wrote from home. But one suggestion to all of you, if you are planning to write this CBAP or ECBA or CCBA test, especially CBAP and CCBA, go to the exam center. Don't try to write it from home because exam centers are far more controlled environment. So the experience is little better. Usually your hiccups that come will be much less if you are in the exam center. There's in fact an interesting blog on our website on IIB proctored exams. So if you're planning to take it from home, you can take a look at that as well. Okay. Ah, it's okay. Mac also works. There's nothing wrong with Mac, but I would still suggest do an check. There's a link on PSI site, which is the exam center for exam system for IIBA. Please make sure that your system is compatible to that. Vilas Das says, is there any discount code to buy BABOK book? No. But if you become a member of IIBA, you get BABOK for free. You also get other standards for free. So if you happen to be in the third world country like India, Africa, you get it at a much cheaper price. I think, if I believe, it's about $54 to become a member. But you please check it out, 54 or $55. But that gives you access to BABOK and other content and books from IIBA. How much are the fees for your CBAP exam prep course? It starts as low as $399 and goes up to $949 without exam fee. The exam fee will be additional $550. Uh, I believe so. Makasi, I think they are present in almost every part of the world. You should be able to find something in South Africa as well. Okay, Anu says half price books has it for cheaper. Maybe possible. I don't know whether it's legal, illegal. Usually, IIBA sells books on Amazon, but almost at full price. But maybe there are some organizations which might have taken permission from IIBA. I am not aware. We don't sell BABOK as an independent product. So we sell it as part of membership because membership gives you BABOK. So why again? And we know that membership has plenty of benefits in terms of reduced exam fee, getting access to lots of books, being part of the IIBA community. So there are a lot of benefits of being a member of IIBA. Good. So one more interesting question. What is the typical time to prepare for CBAP who is new to BABA? Hmm. If you're a senior business analyst, I would say 4 months, 4 to 6 months. That's a good enough time to prepare. Hmm. Less than 3 months is very aggressive. More than 6 months, I don't think you need. So somewhere between 3 to 6 months, you should be able to complete your. Of course, if you go through a formal training, it makes it a little easier for you. If you try to do it on your own, it is going to take a little bit more time. It's a big book. So you have to first understand BABA, then get to access some questions, prepare for those questions, and then go for the exam. Okay, what else? I think the time frame I have already told you. Then payment plan also. Uh, Lakmal Silva says, I would expand a bit to improve internal processes. Of course, business analysts also help in improving processes, but our focus has been largely to improve internal processes using software. So, because software is very, very powerful weapon in our hand. Okay, so imagine lots of things can happen by leveraging software. And I think the new version of software, which is AI, is again one more powerful weapon that we have in our hand, which is much more powerful compared to the traditional software that we saw. The data management software that we saw, AI is way, way more powerful. Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, most of you have asked. Is there any other question? Okay, Makasi says, what is the correct number of months to prepare for ECBA? ECBA, you can do it between, say, 2 to 4 months easily. Should not take more than that time because ECBA has lesser content. So there are two chapters which are excluded for ECBA. So that makes it easier. The questions are easier. So obviously, it's kind of direct questions from BABOK. So 2 to 4 months is reasonably good enough time. Okay. Then Okay. Practical business analysis is little. I did write a book on IT business analysis. You can take a look at that. That's very practical oriented. And I based it on one of the large projects which we executed for a client. So you can find it pretty much easily through that. Um, Otherwise, there should be some books by, I think, if you see Carl Wiegers, if you happen to know him, Carl has many good books on software requirements. You can take so any practical requirements engineering book, if you can find, that will be a good source. So I can recommend Carl. I can recommend my book as well if you would like to read that book. Um, okay. So the other question is, what are some effective strategies for studying for the ECBA exam with a team member? Teamwork is always good work. Remember that. Like when I was preparing for a very difficult exam, I teamed up with one of my colleagues. So we can ask doubts. He can ask me his doubts. I can ask him my doubts. So it's always prepared. Good to do that. Go through the sequence in BABOK guide. Just make sure that you don't focus on the topics which are not there in the exam. See, for ECBA, remember I think about 180 pages of BABOK isn't there. So there is a chapter called Perspectives, which is 80 pages, and that is not there for any of these three exams. So Perspectives is not asked in ECBA, not in CCBA, not in CIBA. Good. Then for ECBA, again, you exclude strategy analysis and solution evaluation. It's still reduced. So please make sure that, and if you can maybe take a look at our ECBA study guide, which is a far, far more compact version. Our study guides are 1/10 of BABA, 1/10. So you can imagine by the time you read BABA once, you can read our study guide 10 times. So, so do discuss among yourselves. If you have a set of students in the company, maybe form a study group, and there are a good number of study groups being conducted by different chapters as well. You can join there. And if you would like to join as a group to our training, you get a group discount as well. Take advantage of that. We currently don't sell ECBA study guide as an independent product. It comes as part of our digital resources because end of the day, we have to support a customer. Even if you just buy our study guide, a question bank, you still become a customer. You still have a right to ask us questions, which is why we say it's probably uneconomical for us to serve a customer by just selling a study guide, which is why we stopped selling our study guides long, long back, although we get a lot of requests for that. So you still have to buy the minimum digital product, which comes with study guide, question bank, video learning. Um, if I'm right, it's probably $149, but you can check. I don't remember all the prices. Our prices are completely visible on website. There's nothing hidden from you. Go to the website and you will see all the prices that you want to see. Okay. Okay. The three chapters which are not there for ECBA are perspectives, strategy analysis, solution evaluation. Okay. Two chapters which are not there for CCBA and CBAP. One is perspectives and one is underlying competency. So please keep that in mind. Okay, because there's no point studying for chapters which are not coming in the exam. Is there value in studying them? Of course, no questions. But if you're preparing for the exam, then just focus on the chapters from which you will get the questions. Okay, so I'm just going to put up the contact us slide for the few minutes that we have. And then I think as we come to close of the webinar, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer you. any further questions that you have. Where is the contact us slide? Here is the contact us slide. Yeah. So any last question anybody would like to ask? All good? Okay. So thank you all for joining us today. I wish all of you good luck in your exam preparation. Also remember, certification is just not about adding one designation or adding an acronym to your name. It's a learning process. It's a confidence building process as well. It's a branding process as well. So when you earn a certificate, you have learned a subject very well. You got your skills and knowledge independently validated. It is going to improve your confidence, and it's also going to increase your brand value in the market. Have no doubts about it. And a branded product can easily command a significant premium compared to an unbranded product. Okay. With that note, I would like to stop here for today. And I hope we will have interactions again in future. And thank you once again for joining us today and spending time with us.